This conference will now be recorded.
Hi friends, good morning. In this Business Intelligence Master program, in today's session, we are going to talk about data flows performance metrics and data flows parameters. So as of today, we were not creating any parameters and we have not used any data flow parameters. So today we are going to understand how to use data flow parameters and what are the different options we have to increase the performance of the data flow execution. Okay, we are going to see data flow performance metrics and data flow parameters. Let's see, in today's session, we will learn scenarios, then mapping data flow actions, estimations, prerequisite, and required resources. These five we will discuss. Then, with respect to the demo, I will just create data lake storage gen 2, create Azure Data Factory v2, create linked service for data lake storage gen 2 with Key Vault using integration runtime. Then create data sets. I want to create the data set, create pipeline, debug pipeline, run pipeline, schedule trigger, and monitor pipeline. So this is what I wanted to do. Let's see the scenarios that we are going to cover as part of today's session. So today we are going to talk about how to validate schema. Okay, validate schema means, so let's say today I got 4 columns and I'll just load those things into my destination. Next today, I don't know, some due to some reason, some process failure or something, maybe somebody has changed the code, but these things may not happen. But let's say some reason from the source itself, some schema has changed. Okay, without checking the dependency, client has approved the change and somebody has changed the schema. Now what happens? Schema has changed. Schema means, let's say I am getting 4 columns, but now I'm getting only 3 columns. These kind of changes I want to validate. If I see any changes, I want to make sure my execution should fail. Execution should not happen because this is not a correct schema. When there is no correct schema, my logic may fail. That's why I want to validate the schema. If the schema is not same as the one which I got yesterday, then I need to fail this particular execution. Next, how to fetch updated schema from file. How to fetch updated schema from file. So now what happened? Let's say you have you are expecting 4 columns, but you got only 3 columns. Maybe you are getting 5 columns, extra columns you are getting. Now what you need to do, you need to get those extra columns. Okay, you need to get those extra columns. By default, you will not get it. Okay, you need to use some options to get that. Next, how to import data types of source data. Let's say when you add the new column in the file, source file, the data type of that particular newly added column is going to be string. But I don't want string, I want the actual data type. Actual data type means if it is a number, I want that particular data type should be an integer. If it is basically a date, then the data type of that particular column is a date. Okay, I want info the data type. How to do that? Next, improve performance by using source transformation options. We are going to do all these things with the help of a within a source transformation. We have something called options. If you remember, schema drift, validate schema, info data types of drifted columns, all those options we have, we are going to talk about those things. Next, we are going to see how to create data flow parameters and use it. How we can use these data flow parameters. Then we will talk about create data set parameters and pass values to them. So we are going to see how to create data flow parameter, how to create data set parameter, pipeline parameter, all these things we discussed. Today, only thing is how to use these data set parameters from the data flow. How to use these data flow parameters from the data flow. We are going to talk about those things. Then we are going to talk about source transformation, conditional split, sync transformation. Okay, these are the 3 transformations I am going to use. Okay, these are the 3 transformations I am going to execute. Okay, fine. Overview diagram. You see here I have a source. Okay, I have a source. Then I'm going to read the source data. Then I will apply some conditional split. Conditional split basically I will use here to split. So let's say what we wanted to do, I want to sanction maybe a loan to somebody. Okay, you want to sanction some loan. So then what you need to do, you need to check their credit score. If their credit score is good, then you want to grant the loan to them. Otherwise you don't want to grant the loan. So then what I wanted to do, I want to put some pass credit score. Okay, pass score. What is the minimum credit score we should have to get the loan? So that particular pass credit score, pass mark, you can say pass mark. Okay, what is the pass mark? that particular value I will pass it as a data flow parameter. That particular parameter will come. So every time the value may change. Okay, that pass mark may change every time in this credit scores, right? So I'm going to take that parameter. That parameter I will use in this particular conditional split. In conditional split, I will say whoever is having the credit score greater than this particular value, only those people I want. So I will just put, let's say I will say pass mark is 100. Whoever is having credit score greater than 100, those people I want to take it and write it into my sink. Only these people are eligible for my loan, credit loan. Okay, that's how I'm going to decide. Okay, for that I'm going to have a source transformation, conditional split, and a sink transformation. Only 3 transformation, but we will talk about performance improvements with the help of source transformation options. Okay, now schema validation. See, so schema, how you will validate is we have a 4 columns here. Okay, so these 4 columns, but next run you are getting only 3 columns. Which column you are missing? Credit ID. Okay, so that is up to you. Do you want to allow the execution, or you want to just skip the execution? You want to fail the execution when schema is changed. So if you want to fail the execution whenever some schema has changed, here you have 4 columns, here you have 3 columns. Schema has changed. Now you want to fail the execution, then you have a option called schema validation. You are going to use the schema validation. Okay, you are going to use the schema validation for this. Okay, next we will talk about without schema drift. Without schema drift means what will happen if you're not using yellow schema drift. I have a 3 columns. Okay, now one second. Yeah, so previously I ran this particular job. Here I have a credit ID, credit type, credit name, and the credit score. Now I just remove the credit name from this source. I removed the credit name from this source. You understood? Now I have credit ID, card name, credit score. Now what happens? Credit ID is coming correctly, card type is coming correctly, credit score, it is null. Instead of credit name, this value is coming, meaning this data is populating in a wrong column. The reason is you are not allowing schema drift. Schema should be identified properly, it should be drifted, right? So for that you need to, if you say without schema drift means some issues will come, something like that. This credit score data will go here as you just remove this particular column. To avoid these particular things, we need to use the yellow schema drift. What it will do, we have this, even though you remove the credit name here, when you yellow schema drift, it will properly display data. Okay, this is basically credit score. Credit name column is already deleted, so as there is no data for credit name column, it will come null here. Okay, that's why you need to allow the schema drift. You need to allow the schema drift. Next, infer drifted column types. Infer drifted column types. You see, this is the 4 columns. We have 4 columns. Okay. Now, when you load these 4 columns here, what happens? See, instead of credit name, I have added bonus column here. Instead of credit name, I have added bonus column. So when you add bonus column, it will come here, but it will come as a string type. When you check this option, info drifted column types, this particular column data types will be taken as a original data type. What is the data type of this? By default, it will be string, but when you allow info drifted column types, then it will change it to the data type based on the data. So here you have a number, so it will consider as an integer. Clear friends, here everybody's clear.
So Malaya, are you able to hear me?
Yes, Pawan.
Yeah. So if we put this infer drifted column, like the data will come properly. That's what we are trying to say.
No, if you use info drifted columns, data types will come properly. You added bonus column, you removed credit name, instead of that bonus column you added. That bonus column will come as a string if you're not using info drifted column types. If you use info drifted column types, it will use, it will just get the actual data type. The based on
Okay.
this data, the
Got
data type should be there, it will get the integer.
It will be automatically changed, huh? No need to do any manual things.
You need to check this option so that you will get the data type properly. If you're not checking
Okay.
this option, it will come as a string.
Okay.
Okay, don't worry. So we will see practically. Next, execute data flow from pipeline. You know, from pipeline you have data flow activity. By using data flow activity, you're going to select the data flow. Here we have a parameters. So by using this option, you are going to pass the value to your data flow parameters. Data flow debug, you need to turn on to execute these data flows. Next, mapping data flow actions. So I'm going to use today conditional split again. Okay, I am not going to use anything else because we already discussed almost all these things except the pivot and unpivot. Okay, next, estimations. So I'm going to use only data lake storage gen 2 today. Okay, I'll just use a storage today, and the data sets I'll just create multiple data sets as per requirement. How many data flows we will create? Only one data flow, one pipeline I will use to execute one data flow. What type? So can we execute multiple data flows in a single pipeline? Can you tell me? Can we execute
Yes.
multiple data flows in a one pipeline? Yes, we can use multiple data flow activities within a single pipeline to execute multiple data flows. Okay. What type of IR we need to use to transform data in data flows is Azure IR is going to dispatch job on a Databricks cluster. Databricks cluster is going to execute our code. Next, prerequisite, we should understand what is data lake storage gen 2, keyword, data factory, data flow debug, schedule trigger, linked service dataset activity pipeline. So we are aware of all these things. Let's quickly go to required resources. I will create data lake storage gen 2, Azure Key Vault, and Azure Data Factory V2. These three resources I will go and create. Okay, let's quickly go and create these three. Let me just log in portal.azure.com. Now let's click on storage accounts to create storage. Let's click on add. Resources, we just select this resource. Okay, let's create a new resource group. Click OK. Then you can give the storage name. I can say cloud with ADLS V2 store 1. Okay, store 1 I'm giving. Remember, all the resources I will just end it with 1 today. Click networking, all those things. In advanced tab, you need to enable the hierarchical namespace. Click review plus create. Create it. Now come here. Let's open portal.azure.com. Okay. Now we have storage account. We have for data factory. Now let's create data factory. Okay, we have not created it. Let's click add to create the data factory. Resource group. This is the resource group. And data factory name I will say cloud ADF V2 1. So as I said today, I will end with every resource with 1. Git configuration, I just configure later. Click review plus create. Click create again. Now let's go and create our key vault. Let's click on add to create the keywords. So same resource group. Then keyword name I will say Cloud Pandit PDF V2. Sorry, Cloud Pandit AKV 010. Click review plus create. Create it again. I created all those things. Now let's go to resource. Click on containers. Click on container. Here you are going to see here Cloud Pandit. Inside this container, let's upload some of the data. I will tell you what data you need to upload. See, this is the data I want to upload. Okay, actual underscore schema.csv. Let me just upload the data. I hope you understood, right? We have a total 4 columns. Don't worry, here it is difficult to analyze. Let's analyze here itself. Let's open this file, actual schema.csv file. Click edit. See, clear. So just click on preview. So it will be easy for you to preview the data. You see, we have all this like a credit score information. Now what I wanted to do, I will just get the some pass score. Every year I will get the new pass score. So based on that, I need to filter these customers. So sometimes it will say, okay, all the people who has credit score greater than 900, those are eligible for the maybe credit loan or something. In the same way, sometimes I will get credit score 1000 to get the loan. So that value is going to change. That's why I will use a data flow parameter to take that particular value. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is this particular file name, I may read it from my metadata table. So that's why I want to pass this particular file name through the dataset parameters. I don't want to select this particular file. Instead, I want to pass through the dataset parameters. Okay, these two things I wanted to do. But I uploaded the actual data that I wanted to put. Now come back, go to access case, showcase, take this particular key, come here, go to resource, click on secrets, click generate/import. This is this key, list key. This key, click create. Now come back, come to access policies. Click add access policy, key secret certificate, click selected. Let's select our data factory here. Cloud Pandit, EDF. This is the one. Okay. Click add. Then save it. You don't forget to save, just save it. We granted the permission, everything is fine. Now come to data factory, go to source. I uploaded my source data, storage key I stored in a keyword. Now I am opening the data factory. Okay, click on manage tab. Let's turn on data flow debug first. It will not take 2 hours. Okay, don't worry. Next, click on new linked service. I just need to create the linker service for my Gen2. Select Gen2, click continue. So this is basically LS1 ADLS Gen2. So I want to enter manually. Let's take the URL. For that, go to storage, take the storage name. Come here, https / this storage name .dfs.core dot windows.net. So key I need to read it from the Azure keyword. Click on this, click new. A key linker service for Azure keyword from subscription from this particular keyword. Let's test the connection. Connection successful. You can create it. Now this is the URL. This is the linker service. Secret name. What is the secret name? Let's go to data secrets. See here ADLS key. Take this. Come back here. Put the secret name here. Test connection. Connection successful. You can create it. Okay. Now publish all. Click publish. Fine. It is published. Now go to author tab. Okay. Let's create a data set. You know, you can create on the fly, but it is difficult for you to understand if you create on the fly. That's why just let me just create it from you. Data lake storage to click continue. As a CSV file, click continue. This is basically I can say DS for ADLS. ADLS Gen2 underscore. Which file we are trying to read is some credit CSV. A credit CSV file. Linked service, I can use this. First was that just browse it, select the folder, and specific file I want to pass it dynamically. Okay, whatever file I have, specific file I want to pass it dynamically. For that, click on dataset parameter. Click on this. You can say this is the dataset parameter. That's why dataset parameter dp underscore okay, so this is the dataset parameter underscore. You can say you are going to pass the file name. So you can say file name, dp underscore file name. This is the parameter. Okay, dataset parameter. See, dp dataset parameter. What you are going to pass? File name. Come here, just select here, click here, come down, you just select this parameter. You understood now, right? I just created the data set and I created the data set parameter. I hope all these things we have done earlier. So same thing I repeated. Now let's go to the data flow. Click new mapping data flow, map data flow, click OK. Click finish, click on this 2 times. Okay, this is basically performance. Okay, let's add this source. Click add source. Okay, just select the data source which you have created. This is the data source. This is the data source. Okay, see, these are the options we are going to explore today. So in detail, we are going to discuss these things. Okay, yellow schema drift. Yellow schema drift. What all these options will do? I don't want a yellow schema drift. I don't want to do anything. Meaning, basically, whatever changes will come, those changes will be passed as it is without checking anything. So if the data is corrupted, so instead of having data at one column, so at the CID place we have CNAME. It's a corrupted data. It should not process. So if you're not using these options, it will be very, very difficult. That's why What I wanted to do, I want to use a validate schema. Okay, now come to data preview, refresh this. See, I just checked here, validate schema. Okay, remember that. No value provided for parameter dp underscore file name. You understood? Now it is asking you to provide the value for this dataset parameter. But you see here where you have all these options. You don't have anything. You don't have anything. You will not have any option here. Okay. But how to pass the value to this dataset parameter which you have created and used in this particular data flow is when you are debugging, you need to click here, debug settings. Go to parameters. Here you need to give your file name. My file name is, go here, become containers. Go inside this container. Take the file name. This is the file name. This file name I'll just pass it here and save it. Okay. Now come to data preview and refresh it. This debug setting only for debugging. Just to preview the data, we need to set these things. Okay. First thing in this, you need to focus on source schema. I just checked validate schema. It is going to give you data. Okay, this is the data I got. Total 12 columns. Okay, now I want to divide this data into two parts. Okay, maybe you can use filter, maybe you can use conditional split. Okay, so conditional split will allow you to route the data based on the condition. Okay, here I will say toppers. Here I will say, okay, customers, all customers I will have here, only toppers I will have in this flow. Okay, all matching conditions. You know, all matching condition means all toppers will go, along with toppers all other people will go into this customers transformation. Okay, now in this toppers I want to put some condition. What condition you want to put? Wherever, see, greater is the function I'm going to use. Greater, select greater. So what should be the greater? If the credit score is greater than 1000, the credit score is greater than 1000, I want to pass only those values. But credit score is coming as a string. I want to convert into integer. How to convert into integer? To integer. I just explained you these conversions. To string, to integer, all those options we have. Those you can use to convert this credit score column from string to the integer, and you are checking this 1000. But this 1000, what is the problem with this 1000 is you are hard coding. You should not hard code. First, let's hard code it and check it. Okay, save and finish. Click data preview, refresh it. Okay, okay. You see here credit ID, credit type, credit name, credit score, all these things we have. Okay, but you see out of 12 records, how many records you get? Only 8. If you look at the credit score, all these people is having a credit score greater than 1000. But now I want to get the credit score wherever we have credit score greater than 900. What you need to do again, you need to go to this transformation, click on this. Okay, you need to change here 900. Now we'll change it to the 900. Now pass mark has changed. Now I need to just again refresh with 900. Okay. Now you see you have credit ID, credit type, credit name, and a credit score. But now if you look at the total records, you got 10, not 8. Now you got 10 because 978 records also you got. Previously only 1000, but 978. Meaning these values keep changing. These values keep changing. These particular changed values, we need to receive it from the parameters. How to do that? Click on open canvas. Go up, you see something like parameters. Click on this. Here you can say it's a data flow data flow parameter DFP underscore. Okay, pass score. Okay, pass score. DFP data flow parameters. Okay, DF otherwise you can say DF param. Okay, DF underscore param underscore pass underscore score. So this will give you much more clarity. Okay, data flow parameter. So pass score is the, you can just combine these two things, or you can say simply this, but it's not a good. You just put it so the tradability will increase. Okay, so this is the pass score. This is what, this is of type what? It's integer. So change it to the integer. Do you want to put any default value? You can put, otherwise you just leave it as it is. Come to toppers. Now instead of using this 900, what I wanted to use, I want to use the parameters. I'll just tell you how to use those parameters. Come to parameters, you see parameter you have. Just select it. You just select it, it will come this dollar and parameter. Click save and finish. Now you just try come here, data flow refresh. It is asking you to provide the value for this data flow parameter. Now I can say 1000. Now I can say value 1000. Maybe I can say something 1190. 1190. I'm passing. Just save it and comment refresh. Now you see. Now you see you got only 4 records, 1240, 1240, 1240, 1240. Okay. So this particular data flow parameter will allow you to pass the value every time. Okay, whatever value you want to pass, you can able to pass instead of changing the transformation every time. This particular data I want to write it into my sink. Let's write it into sink. Okay, so what I wanted to do, I want to write this data into my target. So target data set I have not created. Let's create a sink data set now. So sink I want to write it into same data like storage entry as a CSV. This you can say DS ADLS Gen2 sink. Use same linked service first as header. So you can say, yeah, you come back to the storage. Okay. So create the container. Let's say output container. I'll create. I'll tell you the reason. Okay. Come here, browse it, refresh this, select output folder. If first as header, as this folder is available, you can import the schema. Okay, try to. Now I am writing the data to it. Okay. Now what you need to understand. So I will just write it into a single file. So how to do that? To write it into a single file, you can come to settings, output to a single file. You can say toppers.csv. Okay. Come to optimize, you can say single partition, because I want to write entire data into a single file, then you need to use a single partition. Come to settings, data preview, refresh this. See, you got only 4. You got only 4. The reason is data flow parameter. What is the value we set here? Go to parameter. You see 1190 we set. That's why. Okay, click save. Now, what I wanted to do, I want to write my this customer's data also. For that, let me just create one more container. Customers. Create it. So come back to data flow. Let's add this in for this as well. Okay. Let's write the data. Click new. Gen2. Click continue. CSV. Click continue. ds underscore Gen2 sync1. So use this linker service. So you just select the folder. First as that, click OK. So here also, if you want to write it into a single file, you can write it, but it's not mandatory. That is up to you. As I have a small data, I want to write it into a single file. You can directly say single partition. So now it is already set it to single partition. Now come here, give the name. So what is the name I want to give here? Customers. .csv. Okay. Now if you refresh, you will see same data. Okay. Now you see total 12 records are coming because it's all match. All matching means if this condition match, it will go here. Even if none of the conditions matched, or if every condition matched, all records will go to the default again. That's why we got it here. Now I just create a pipeline. I will use the data flow. Okay, now you see, come to settings. In settings itself, this data set parameter will appear. In parameters, this score will appear. But for data set parameters, how we were passing, we are hard coding directly data set parameters, or we are creating pipeline parameter. From pipeline parameter, we are passing value to data set parameters. From data set parameters, we are passing to the linked service parameters, isn't it? So now to pass the value to this data flow parameter and the data set parameter, I will create the 2 pipeline parameters. How to create 2 pipeline parameters? Click on this canvas. Here you can create the 2 pipeline parameters. This is pipeline parameter 1 for file name. Next, pp underscore pass score. Okay. Now these 2 I'll just use it within the data flow activity. Okay. CR file name, I need to set this file name. I will just get it from the pipeline parameter. You see pp file name you need to use. In the same way, come to parameter. Here I need to use the data set parameter. Go to pipeline expression because we have a pipeline parameter. Okay, just say pipeline pass mode. Okay,
That should be.
so you just tell me, Pawan.
It should be integer, right? Pipeline score.
Oh, sorry. I think yes, it should be integer. Thank you. Just selecting it. Okay, it should be integer. Okay, fine. You are right, Pawan. Okay, it should be integer. Forgot. Okay. Now let's try to debug. When you debug, it will ask you to provide the values. Okay, pp underscore file name. So pp underscore file name is this is the file name. pp underscore passcode. Passcode I will say this time maybe let's say 1000. Just click OK. We'll see 1000 means 8 records. We should get it in our output. Okay, isn't it? Now there is a performance issue here. What happens every time it is going to validate the schema. Okay, every time it is going to validate the schema. See, if you are doing some extra stuff, ultimately it is going to take more time. Okay, so but you need this particular validate schema to avoid breaking your functionality. Okay, otherwise your entire logic will break, your entire logic will fail if you're not using validate schema. In that case, I need to use validate schema even though I have a performance issue. Understood? But actually you'll have a performance issue when you use validate schema. So you need to use validate schema when you have really use case where you need to get the exact schema that you have received yesterday. You don't care about what kind of schema you're getting, you can uncheck that. But let's see how this will work. We will see. Now it will successful. Okay, we'll see. It will be succeeded this time. Just text. You see here, it will be succeeded. I hope already. Yes, it is already successful. Okay, refresh this. So it doesn't matter. It is already success. It is successful. Now come to storage. Go to output. Let's focus only on output. Okay. Click on toppers.csv. You see here we will have 8 records. Only the people who is having a credit score greater than 1000, those records we have here. Okay, those records we have here. Now close this. Go back. Go inside the source data. Click on actual schema.csv. Click on edit. Now you see I'll just remove this. Okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll just use a modified schema on the .csv. So this is the like data I will put. See, actually same data. Only thing that I've done is credit ID I just removed. Credit ID I removed. Okay. So one column is missing. Save it. Now what will happen? Okay, after changing the schema, if you just say debug once again, okay, what will happen? We will see. But what is the file name? File name is exactly same. So password again I will give 1000. Okay, now you will see it is going to create the job, but this time it will fail. We'll see why it has failed. Okay, the reason for failure, you come back to here. You see in projection it is expecting credit ID, card type, credit name, credit score. So as it is expecting 4, but it is getting only 3, so it will fail because you are saying validate schema. If the schema is same or not, can you check all 4 columns I'm getting from source or not? It is going to check whether from source we are getting 4 columns or not. We'll see now. Go to pipeline. I hope everybody understood. Any questions? Okay, now you see it will fail. See, it failed. What is the reason for this? Let's click on this message, error message. So what it is saying, you see here, it is saying job failed due to reason at source 1, missing column credit ID. It is missing column credit ID at source 1, missing column credit ID. It is missing a credit ID. Okay. Now same thing, same job. Come here. Yes, Nagaraj, you are right. So that's what I'm going to show you now. I'll just uncheck this. Come to pipeline. Let's debug. This time it will be successful. Okay. So let's give same thing. Same file name you can give now. So let's give 1000 only. Click OK. Okay, it is going to execute. Now you see this time it is going to execute, but it is going to yellow your process to be happen without credit. Your logic will fail if you are using credit ID, but anyhow I am not using credit ID. My functionality will not fail, but if you use validate schema, it will fail. So that's why that is up to you whether you want to use a validate schema or not. If you use validate schema, there will be a performance issue because every time it is going to check your schema. When it is doing some extra thing, then ultimately you will have some performance issues. Okay. So it is successful this time. But if you go here, go to output file, not customers, go to output, click on the stoppers.csv file, click it. See, you got everything, but you don't have credit ID. Without credit ID, it is allowed now. Without credit ID, it is allowed now. Okay, because you are not saying validate schema. You are not saying validate schema. Clear? Everybody's clear how this validate schema will work? Any doubts in this? So if you are clear with this, I'll just move to the other things. Okay. See, these things, it's you no need to execute pipeline to check these things. You see yellow schema drift. What I will do, I will just go to the same source. Let's go to the source now. I'll just remove this. I'll just add a schema drift.cs. This is the discount. Discount. Yeah, this one. You just add this discount column. See now, just preview it. So instead of credit name, I'm just passing the bonus. So I'm giving bonus like 0 rupees if the credit score is 1000, less than 1000. If the credit score is between 1000 and 12,000, it's 100. If it is greater than 1200, so bonus is going to be 200. That's why I have given the bonus. Now just save it first. You save these changes. Yeah, this is the data I'm saving. Now come to data flows. Here you see I'm just not using any of this. Come to data preview, refresh this. Okay, where is that extra column? It did not come. Okay, do not worry. Sometimes it will not refresh immediately. Check yellow schema drift. Come here, click refresh. This time also it will show exactly same. Okay, just wait. There won't be any change this time. Okay. Sometimes it will not refresh immediately. That's why this kind of issues will come. Do not worry about that. Okay. But you see credit score bonus coming properly. Now you uncheck this. Okay, come to preview, refresh this. Now we'll see how the data will appear. See, I did not check any of this. I did not check any of these options. Come to data preview. When you are not using schema drift, it is not coming. Refresh this once again. Okay. So what you need to do, you already unchecked. Come to projection first. Okay, let's say click data, detect data type. Okay, first thing, let's say detect data types. See, by default for integer values like credit ID and the credit score, it is giving short. Now what I wanted to do, I want to say it should not be a short. For default, please, instead of taking short, please take integer value by default. Click OK. Now click detect data types. See, now default value integer it is considering. Okay, all integer values like numbers it is considering as integer whole numbers. Okay. Now I unchecked this. Come to data preview. Let's refresh it once. We'll see how it will appear now. After I import this schema, but this particular info schema you need to do now. Let's say yellow schema drift. Come to data preview. Refresh this. Oh, it is not working. It is coming properly. It is coming properly, but when you have unchecked and refresh this, it will not come as expected. It should come in a different way, friends. But I'm not sure what is the reason for this. Just to give a minute, what is the data here? Okay, let's see. Let's do one thing. Without bonus, I'll just take these three columns. Okay, try to understand. Without bonus, I'm just trying to take these three columns. Okay, now come to data preview. Uncheck yellow schema drift. Come to data preview. Refresh this.
What you are trying to expect, Maya, here?
Like I am expecting this should not come in a proper order. So credit score should come in a credit name column, but I'm not getting data itself. Let's refresh once again. Okay, the reason might be go to projection. Let's say detect data type once again. Now come to data preview, refresh once. Just to give a minute. Let me just put Excel schema first. Save it. Come to here, refresh this. One second.
Have you done any one-to-one mapping, Malaya? Column to column mapping? Have you done? No, right?
What, Pawan? So I'm just referring same file, right? Actual schema.csv only I'm referring, isn't it? Let's click on debug settings. Actual schema.csv only I'm referring, but why it is taking this? Come here, now refresh once again. Finally, we'll see. If it is not working, we need to understand why it is. This time it should come. If it is not coming, we'll look into it. What is the issue? See, data is coming, isn't it? So data is coming for all the 4 columns. Now you see, I'll just, what I will do, I'll just skip the credit name column. I'll skip this. Okay, you see here, I have not checked. Come here, select this, save it. See, please consider it now. Now come to data factory, data flow, data preview, refresh it once again now. Now you understood what is happening here. Now you understood what is happening if you're not using yellow schema drift. If you're not using, what is happening, you understood. Credit score should be available at this column, but that credit score is coming to the previous column where credit name is not available. Understood now?
Yeah, Malaya. But we did not do any changes, right? For some reason, it did not work. That's it, right?
Yeah, it did not work for some reason. So that's what even I have experienced in previously also same issue. Sometimes it will not work. Okay, you just have to do refresh. That's why I tried multiple refresh and I resetted everything from the back. I just put the entire data, then I removed one column, then it is working now. You understood? Previously, like due to some reason it is not working, so I just reset it. I kept all the data, then I removed. It is now it is showing the issue. Now come to source settings, say yellow schema drift, come to data preview, refresh this. Okay, so now it is clear, right? So credit score column is having a credit scores. So now it drifted the columns in a proper order. Okay, now come here. Now I will add the bonus. I'll add the bonus column. Let's see. I'll just add the bonus column. Come here. Let's go to source. Let me just remove this. Save this. I just added the bonus column. You can see at third place. Okay, now come here. Refresh this. You will be able to see the bonus column. Now you will be able to see the bonus column here. It is not giving. Refresh once again. Oh, this is, see, again, credit scores is gone. It is just getting the bonus. But where is credit scores? I just mentioned credit scores as well. Credit bonus, credit score. I mentioned everything. Yellow schema drift is also available. Come to data. Refresh this one. So it should drift properly. Okay. Resource settings, uncheck this. Come to data preview, refresh this. Now I got credit scores, but when you go to yellow schema drift, you should get the bonus column as well. So it is not coming. It should come, friends. That it will come now. We'll see. These options are very headache because these are not working sometimes. See, now bonus column came properly. Okay. But now if you look at the bonus column, what is meant by ABC? What is meant by 1, 2, 3? What is meant by 1, 2, 3? What is meant by ABC? Can you tell me? What is 1, 2, 3? What is ABC here?
Data type.
Data type. Very good. What is the bonus data type? What is the bonus data type? String.
String.
Okay. Now I want to get a proper data type. For that, come to source settings. You say infer drifted column types. I just got this particular column. Can you infer the proper data type of this? Click refresh now. This time it should give the integer. I hope it will work at least now properly. It should work, friends. Okay. If it is failing again and again, there will, so maybe issue from our end if it is failing every time. It should success now. It should give the integer type. We'll see. You see now it's a 1, 2, 3. It's a integer type. It inferred. You understood now? Bonus 1, 2, 3. Clear? So that's how if you want to get the proper data type of the drifted columns, you need to use the infer drifted column types. Yellow schema drift. Suppose whatever changes happen, those changes if you want to accommodate, you need to say yellow schema drift. If you don't want to yellow changes, okay, you want to fail whenever some schema is changed, you need to select this validate schema option. Okay. Now we also have seen how to use the data flow parameter, and we also have seen how to use the data set parameters within the data flow transformations. Is it clear? All of you clear on this?
Malay, I have one question. So in our
Hmm.
first scenario, where we have that customer ID, we got blank in the first case, right?
Yeah, first case means validate schema when we unchecked. So it is just processing without credit ID. So when you check validate schema and credit ID, if you miss it, it got failed. The
Yeah,
reason is
but in that case, I expect like customer name should be overlapped in the customer ID column. How it come properly?
customer.
No, as per our drifting scenario, right? Like in the first case, where we saw that customer ID populated blank and customer name, credit name or whatever, for columns populated properly as a
Validate schema will take care of all those things. Validate schema is going to take care of all those things. If you're not using validate schema, if you're not using yellow schema drift, you will see that kind of issue.
Okay,
But
got it.
validate schema will take care of all those things, so that drifting all those information internally. Okay, clear, Pawan?
Yeah. Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, let me stop the recording.